Hey everyone, well, I'm so thrilled to be with you again. I'm not just saying that, I'm thrilled to be with you again for another Today I Choose. But before we get into today's, I just want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to all those that actually let me know yesterday, one way or another, that they were going to really choose what we said yesterday to use this time to heal. I'm excited about the testimonies that are going to come out of this season because you're choosing to make some healing decisions in this moment of your life that your future is going to thank you for. So thanks for letting me know, and I'm cheering you on, and I believe God's going to actually do some incredible things in this season like never before. So with all that being said, now we're going to have some fun today, and I'm going to ask you today to choose to be creative. Yes, I am. I know right now you're like, Charlotte, I have no more creativity in me. The children are driving me crazy. If I have to do one more board game, one more arts and crafts session, I'm going to go crazy. I know you may be feeling that way, but I want to remind you today that you have the creator of the universe on the inside of you, and that is no small thing. That the one who spun the planets off his fingertips, the one who painted the sky with stars, the one who actually picked out those colors that you see in your garden blossoming and flourishing, the one that wove you together in your mother's womb, that God is your father, and his DNA is a creator, and therefore you have the same DNA inside of your life. You have a creativity in you that maybe you have forgotten to tap into, or maybe you have neglected. And today, I think like never before, we need to get in touch with that creative side of us that is God-birthed and God-given. And so today I want you to choose to be creative. I want to cast your mind back to maybe when you were smaller, much smaller, or maybe you have little ones, so this is a relevant example right now in your world. But do you ever remember when you used to receive a gift from your parents or a loved one, and they would give you the gift, but you would be so obsessed, not with the gift, because the gift you looked at, but then you would put to one side, much to your parents' dismay. But you get obsessed with the box. Did anyone else do that? This box that actually was just a piece of cardboard that was holding the gift suddenly unleashed in you as a child, or unleashes in your children right now. You've seen them do the same thing. This kind of creativity. That box was not a box. To your childlike mind, that box was infinite possibilities. That box became a car. That box became a boat. That box became a doll's house. That box became the body of a robot. That box became a treasure chest. That box became a place where it became the shell on a snail's back. All those things were inside this cardboard box with the imagination and the creativity that came out of you as a child or out of one of your children. And as we watch that cardboard box go to something spectacular because of someone's ability to tap into creativity, I want to remind you that that same creativity inside you right now, and we right now might not have a physical cardboard box in front of us, but let's be honest, there are many boxes in our everyday life that could do with us having another creative look at. There are boxes inside all of our world that maybe we have just begun to see the cardboard instead of the creativity. What about the box of our marriage? What about the box of our parenting? What about the box of our devotional life with the Lord? What about the box of our relationships? What about the box of our own gifts and talents? All of these boxes in all of our lives require from us, in increasing measure, a willingness to stay creative. Without creativity, those boxes become tired and they even become put to one side, or we begin to use language like, there's nothing else in that for me. There's nothing else I can discover in that relationship. There's nowhere else to go with those areas of my life. And today, I want you to awaken inside of you dormant creativity, because that box needs pulling off the shelf and you need to take a fresh look at it. And God's going to help you, I believe, in this season to actually find new creativity with some old boxes in your life. Maybe all along you didn't need something new. You just needed to look at it with a new perspective. And so I want to remind you of some verses in the Bible that encourage us to stay creative. What about a verse like Galatians 6 verse 4? In the Message Bible, it says this: I want you to make a careful exploration of who you are and the work you have been given, and then sink yourself into that. Don't be impressed with yourself. Don't compare yourself with others. Each of you must take responsibility, listen to this, for doing the creative best you can with your own life. Okay, let's break that down for a moment. First of all, it's asking us to take a real deep exploration and look at all of our lives from who we are to what we have been given. And I think oftentimes we don't spend the time looking deeply enough at what we already have because we're too busy comparing ourselves to others, or we're too mindful of what we don't have. But this says, no, look at what you have and sink yourself into that. And then it says we have to take responsibility, there it is, to do the creative best we can with our own life. And I want to challenge you today. Are you doing the creative best you can with your own life? Are you exploring and sinking deep into actually all that there is to do in the areas that you already have been entrusted in? I remember a few years ago going to IKEA, and I was not that well accustomed to the ways of IKEA at this season of my life. And so I just picked off the shelf something that would suit my needs. It was a set of drawers. They were painted handles on them. And I took the drawers, put them in my cart, and took it to the cash out, only to find the woman at the cash out look at me like I was crazy lady and say to me, you cannot buy that. And I explained to her, but this is what I want. And she said, no, if that's what you want, you have to go to aisle 3 and to, number G, and you have to pick it off the shelf, and it comes in a flat pack box, and you have to build it yourself, paint it yourself, and put handles on it yourself. I tried to explain to her I didn't have the gifting that I required to do that, but she explained to me, you want one of these? You go build it yourself. And I'm telling you, we so often want to pull off the shelf of someone else's life, that devotional life, that spiritual call, that kind of marriage, that kind of relationship with a friend. And I hear the Spirit of God saying, you can have that, but you have to go ahead and build it yourself. You have to get creative with that box in your life called friendship, with that box in your life called parenting. You have to pull it off the shelf, paint it yourself, put handles it on yourself. And I'm telling you, the Holy Spirit within you loves to get creative alongside of you. So what right now in your world needs you to choose to be creative? Creativity happens to create miracles in our world in a way that nothing else can. Remember the story of the guy that was paralyzed on a mat? He was stuck there. He had nowhere to go. He couldn't get out. He couldn't move until his creative friends showed up. And their creativity led to a new possibility because they chose to not actually stay stuck. They chose, I know you can't move, friend, but we're choosing to pick up the mat you're on. Then they chose to find a way through the crowd. And then when they couldn't get any further, they chose to go up the staircase. And then they chose to lower that guy through the roof to the feet of Jesus. And in Luke 5, the story goes that they lowered the paralyzed man into the middle of the room, in the middle of Jesus preaching a great message. This man was lowered down. Their creativity created a brand new possibility for their friend's life. And because of their creativity, that friend did not go home on the mat. He walked home with the mat under his arm. calm because creativity led to a breakthrough in his life and in his world. I believe that some of the areas in our life that right now don't look very vibrant, don't feel like they have much life in them, it's not going to be resolved by something from the outside. It's going to be resolved by creativity from the inside. It's going to be a new idea. It's going to be you adding some color. It's going to be, instead of it being beige and boring, you begin to say, no, this can change color and be more exciting. What right now could you add some creativity to? What cardboard box do you want to add some more life into? And I want you to pull it off the shelf today. And I want you to look at it and say, you know what? I'm not going to complain about this. I'm going to get creative about this. And it can be anything. It could be something relational. It could be in an area of your kind of commitments. But it also could be, you know what? I'm going to get creative in the space where I live. I'm going to get creative with this area of my home. I'm going to get creative in this skill that I have that I've not really done much with. I'm going to get creative in that backyard of my garden. I don't know, but I'm telling you, there's something about being creative that's going to unleash some stuff inside of you. When our kids were growing up, there was a phrase we banned. And the phrase we banned was, they could not say to us, I'm bored. It used to drive me crazy if they would ever say, I'm bored. And I would say to them, you're not allowed to say that because that's not true. You're not bored. You're just boring. If you're telling me you're bored, what you're telling me is that you are boring, because with creativity and imagination, there's a whole heap of things that you could be enjoying right now. You could be outside. You could be playing on the play set. You could be making something. You could be calling a friend. You could be doing something right now. But oftentimes we are still a bit like that kid, and we sit there with a world full of possibilities saying, I'm bored. I'm bored of where I live. I'm bored of what I have. I'm bored of my resources. I'm bored of my friendships. I'm bored. And all along, I think God's going, no, don't be boring. Be creative then. Make some changes. Paint some walls. Do something to bring that area of your life alive. Hey, have creativity, how you love people, how you care for people right now. Be creative in how you reach out. Be creative in your home right now with those that are with you in your home, in how you love and treasure one another. Hey, be creative in the way that you have conversations and the way you plan. I wonder if when we read that scripture that he can do more than we can ask or imagine, I wonder if some of our asking is limited because our imagination is also limited. Don't allow what you don't have to stop you from being creative with what you do have. Zacchaeus lacked height, but creativity got him up a tree. And that creativity that put him in the tree led to Jesus saying, hey, I'm coming to your house for dinner today. If he'd allowed his limitation in his stature to stop him from being creative in how he beat the problem, then he would have never had that encounter. What is your lack of creativity limiting today? And I'm just saying, if today you want to choose to be creative, tap in to the creator God inside of you. Ban the word boring in your household and begin to look again at those boxes that you have and see them like you used to see the box when you were a child, with a whole nother level of creativity. Today, have some fun. Today, explore and sink deeper into what you have already been entrusted with. And today, like it says in Galatians, let's do our creative best with what we have been entrusted. Have fun today. Love ya. See you tomorrow.